So we're on?
Yes, we're on.
Awesome. Okay, I wanted to apologize for last night. It turns out I have a cat hair on me. Okay, no, okay. I did everything to get this ready to go, and I didn't check the weather. And for any of you who watch me regularly, you'll know that live streaming has been the absolute worst luck I've ever tried to have. And here goes my cat again. But that's okay. I guess I'm just going to have to spray him with a water bottle again. He's doing this on purpose. Oh, just a second. Mia, just keep it staring at the chair.
I'm trying. You sound so aggressive.
Okay. Alright. Sorry. That's very unprofessional of my cat. Speaking of unprofessional, there's something I've been noticing, and I've just kind of been watching for the last couple of months, that some YouTubers, some big, some not so big, a few have been taking their inspiration from my channel, which is a compliment in a way, but when you don't mention what the source is that you got this information, and you're using the music and things like that, you know, that upsets me, because it's really not nice to take somebody else's work and pretend like, you know, it just came out of your head, you know, and just because you're big and I'm small doesn't mean it's right. And when you're a preacher, that's not okay. But what would be okay is if you would mention where you got it from. That would be nice. With that said, I want to welcome everybody to hopefully my first real successful live stream. You know, quitters, they just don't win, right? So we got to keep at it. I checked the weather this time. So we're going to go try to start this all over again. And this particular word that I got was a couple of nights ago. I started getting it. It was in bits and pieces, and I didn't really understand it at first, because God was saying things like, I'm bringing a sword to the people, not uniting them. And, you know, people are lovers of themselves and just things like that. And finally, when I started looking up these Bible verses, I ended up understanding very clearly what it was that he had to say and what all of this had in common. So we're going to start with this. Bringing the sword, it was a reference for what Jesus had said when he was on earth, but he meant it now too. And he was saying that he was separating the wheat from the tares, the believers from the non-believers. And we've gone over that a little bit more, but bringing the sword means that, you know, it's going to be a division, brother against brother kind of thing, because we have to choose a side, period. No matter what our friends are doing, no matter who our allies were before, this is going to be, it's going to be intense, like Ramses and Moses. All right, so when you've got unity seekers for peace, like the Pope and the Muslims and the non-Christ believing Jews together uniting for peace, and because they worship the same God kind of thing, the reason that is working out for them so well is because none of those people believe in Christ. You know? None of them. That's why it's so easy for them to say that. Okay? And so those people are saying that they want to unite, right? In one love and worship one God, but they're not talking about a God that sent Jesus Christ. And Jesus said if they don't come with his message, then don't receive them. That's from the other side. And that's what you're seeing right now in the news with, and these are recent scandals with priests, popes, the whole Vatican thing going on. One, the Pope is attacking borders. In one article, the top aide to the Pope is facing several counts of sexual assault charges. In another article, the Vatican police break up a gay orgy at the home of the secretary of one of the key advisors to Pope Francis. And the popes, what I found out from a Catholic was that the popes believe, the priest believes that while Jesus is gone, that Jesus chose them to stand in while he was away. Jesus said he was the last priest. That was to be done away with, and you don't go to man to pardon your sins. Jesus is the only one who can pardon you. Those people, they can't say whether you're forgiven or not, and yet they're pardoning all kinds of biblical things that are clearly abominations. And then it also says in Matthew 6:5-8, it talks about how you think for your many words you'll be heard. No. That's like chanting and idol worship. Why are you following these types of people that just say that Jesus was just a man? You need to wake up. All right, and then this specifically starts heading, and we all know this, but there's so many people that knows this, and that they have videos out about it. I mean, really good videos. So a lot of that probably wouldn't come as much of a surprise, but there were a couple of relevant things that, just really caught my attention, because you can, like I said, you can read a verse several times in the Bible, and then when you read it again, and when the Lord has prompted you to, something sticks out that just didn't stick out before. And that is definitely in the case in this. Just watch. I'm going to go to 2 Timothy chapter 3. I think it is chapter 3, definitely. Okay, we're going to go to... There we are. Okay. It says... This know also, that in the last days perilous times shall come. And this should already just be triggering something like, oh yeah, I know what this is about, right? I've heard this before, and you should. Okay, for men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, which means useless, fierce, despisers of those that are good, traitors. I mean, this is a long list, and yet you see this everywhere in the world, right? Traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of God. Basically, narcissists, having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. From such turn away. But check out that one. It's chapter 3, verse 5, having a form of godliness. We go through this long list, and then it says, having a form of godliness. Now, how many preachers in the Pope, having that form of godliness, right? But they deny the power. They deny the power. And this is what God was showing me. That somebody that has the form of godliness, but denies the power, that they are also every single thing that was just mentioned on this list. This list wasn't just about... It's fine. The list wasn't just about us. This list was about false preachers. And so I'm noticing that, and it says... For of this are they which creep into houses and lead captive silly women laden with sins, led away with divers lusts. And I'm telling you, I saw an article recently how a preacher or pastor was jumping out the window naked, man, because this woman's husband had pulled up to the house. All right? For of this sort are they which creep in the houses, ever learning and never able to come to the knowledge of the truth. Like Lucifer, he can recite passages all day long, even the Antichrist. He's going to be a great orator. His speech will be very eloquent, right? Smooth, catching, right? He's going to take little bundles of truth, and anyway. So they can look at the Bible, but they just aren't gonna get it. They're using the Bible like they use anything else. Like they use Jesus and make him for merchandise. And that was another thing that God was talking to me about, that I had to look up. And he was saying that he was angry because of the people that were in charge of the churches that were making merchandise of Jesus and of the people that are in the churches. And so I had to look that up because it sounded so familiar. And Lord started showing me things like, all these things that they say they're gonna pray over and send you, or just these books that they keep selling, or send these donations. And yet they're driving these cars. They have these jet planes. They have these expensive first class trips other places. And you don't really hear of anything they're doing with that money, other than now they have put themselves in the place where they have to keep up that appearance, and they have to keep fulfilling those bills. And so they keep taking that money that you were convinced that they were using for the homeless or for kids organizations. No, they've got these big rocks on their fingers every week's new ones. You're wondering what's going on with that. Shouldn't somebody that really serves God not be charging all this money? Because I'm going to tell you right now, it doesn't cost me anything but my internet bill to do all of this. All right? Whether I have to use my old computer, my daughter's phone, an old broken phone that can hook up to the internet somehow, we find it. We'll find a way. We will pray over these electronics that have no reason to work after a while, and it will work enough to get this through. We may not have much, but you don't see me monetizing my films, my videos. I'm here to get this word out. So I'm wondering what you need $100 a day for just in YouTube videos. How come you have these expensive cars? What kind of preachers are you? Because I'm going to tell you right now, Jesus said, if you want to follow me, go ahead and sell everything you got and follow me. That man couldn't do it. What are you doing representing us? And people, what are you doing following those types of people that make you feel like you've got to indulge in monetary slavery? You're already so much more than gold. You're so precious, all right? And when you start opening your eyes, you'll see what God was showing me, all right? But this right here, all of these things that he was telling me about, he said, and if they don't believe you, if they don't know it's right now, he said, you see that sign up there? I'm like, yeah, he's told me some things. He goes, well, it's not just for, the judgment that's coming for messing with Israel. It's not just signaling that the lost Jews are going home soon. It's also a judgment on the false preachers that keep giving lip service like they know me, but they don't. The time where they can act like they know what I'm saying, that's coming to an end. That's it. And he's letting me know you're about to be exposed. And I'm like, wow, So he directed me to Isaiah 66, and it was the last chapter of Isaiah. So we are looking for, there it is. All right, and it was, we want to start off with verses 1 through 10. And it said, thus saith the Lord, the heaven is my throne, and the earth is my footstool. Where is the house that ye built unto me, and where is the place of my rest? For all those things hath mine hand made, and all those things hath been, saith the Lord. But to this man will I look, even to him that is poor, and of a contrite spirit, and trembleth at my word. He that killeth an ox is as if he slew a man. He that sacrifices a lamb, as if he cut off a dog's neck. He that offers an oblation, as if he offered swine's blood. Y'all know what swine is? That's a pig. All right? He that burns incense, as if he blessed an idol. Yet they have chosen their own ways, and their soul delights in their abominations. I also will choose their delusions, and will bring their fears upon them, because when I called, none did answer. When I spake, they did not hear. But they did evil before mine eyes, and chose that in which I delighted not. Hear the word of the Lord, ye that tremble at his word. Your brethren that hated you, that cast you out for my name's sake, said, let the Lord be glorified. But he shall appear to your joy, and they shall be ashamed. They cast you out? No. Because they thought they were better? That's not going to work no more. Right? A voice of noise from the city, a voice from the temple, a voice of the Lord that renders recompense to his enemies. Before she travailed, she brought forth. Before her pain came, she was delivered of a man-child. Now, doesn't that remind you of Revelation 12? Oops, the sign's up there. Hello. It should say something. Who hath heard such a thing? And who hath seen such things? Oh, we're starting to, aren't we? Shall the earth be made to bring forth in one day? Or shall a nation be born at once? For as soon as Zion travailed, she brought forth her children. Shall I bring to birth, and not cause to bring forth, saith the Lord? Shall I cause to bring forth, and shut the womb, saith thy God? Rejoice ye with Jerusalem, and be glad with her, all ye that love her. Rejoice for joy with her, all ye that mourn for her. Now, it gets a little bit graphic, talking about what it's going to be like with motherhood and baby and the nurturing and everything. So we're just going to skip on down to verses 15 through 18. And it starts with, for behold, the Lord will come with fire. This is what he's saying he's going to do. All right? And it's not good. For behold, the Lord will come with fire, and with his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury, and his rebuke with flames of fire. For by fire and by his sword will the Lord plead with all flesh. He's going to plead with your flesh by the sword. Okay? I told you he was going to bring a sword. He was telling me he's coming to bring a sword. Alright? God is a good God. Don't get that wrong. But you got to understand, you know, his grace, when he gets tired of, he gets to his breaking point, everybody does. He does. He will spank his children. He is a father. Don't ever forget that, alright? They're just those people that are slow to anger, but once they're mad, you don't really want to be in that room, but you can't escape him. Okay? Don't want to be on Father's bad side. And I'm telling you, he's being challenged a lot. And listen to what he has to say. They that sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the gardens behind one tree in the midst, eating swine's flesh, and the abomination, and the mouse shall be consumed together, saith the Lord. For I knew their works and their thoughts. Yeah, it's italicized. That's why I said knew, the way I said it. I knew their works and their thoughts. It shall come, period. That I will gather all nations and tongues, and they shall come and see my glory. Alright, and the next is the last verse, which I also thought was very interesting. Same chapter, verse 24, it says, and they shall go forth and look upon the carcasses of the men that have transgressed against me, for their worm shall not die, neither shall their fire be quenched, and they shall be an abhorring unto all flesh. I just, ew. Something good is coming for somebody, and something bad is coming for somebody else, and it's groups of people, of course. But I would look into Isaiah chapter 66 one more time, and you know, just as a heads up, there are several little verses all over the Bible that have this little phrase in it that says something like, before she travailed, or like a woman in travail. You know, like this one specifically said, before she travailed, she brought forth. That means that before any of this happened, it was known about, it was prophesied that this would happen. That's how. This is what this birth is bringing. Now again, there's something that's got to be revealed in this, but somebody's going to pay the piper. So I just want all of you to be absolutely sure that, you know, of all the things that are being revealed, make sure that you understand that the false teachers are going to be unmasked in this too. So keep selling your books and keep selling your nonsense that has nothing to do with Christ, because we all know it's about what you want and you need, right? How important you need to feel. Just remember that your day is about up. If you really love God, if you really love Christ, then you will sit through the cat, you will sit through the storm, you will sit through the financial problems, you will sit in a place like I've got before you will show your face on camera in a mansion with absolutely no list of everything you've done before you paid yourself. I mean, seriously? You think you're worth that much, honey? Our mansions are supposed to be in heaven, and if you read the Bible, then you know that too. We don't gather ourselves treasures here on earth, because everything dies. Everything, you know, it goes away. It's never meant to last forever. We want to stack up the truth, okay? And for one last thing, when I was talking about there's these little phrases about Revelation 12, here's one example, Micah chapter 5, okay? This is in the Old Testament. It's Micah, well, the book of Micah, I'm sorry. Be a good boy. Okay? Be a good boy. Micah chapter 5, verses 2 and 3. But thou, Bethlehem Ephratah, though thou be little among the thousands of Judah. Doesn't it sound like it's talking about people here? Yet out of thee shall he come forth unto me that is to be ruler in Israel, whose goings forth have been from of old, from everlasting. Therefore will he give them up until the time that is italicized, she which travaileth hath brought forth. Then the remnant of his brethren shall return unto the children of Israel. So you see this sign up there is showing us there's a few things fixing to come to pass, not just one thing. We've got some things going on. I'm absolutely right that we are going back to Israel at some point in the near future. A lot of things are going to happen. And it's all written in this book. If you think I'm just getting it out of my head, I'm not. But some major times are coming. I'm very happy to be a part of it, and I want to say thank you for being a part of my first successful video live stream ever. And I'll talk to you soon.